What's going on, YouTube? This is the Rank Kid here once again, and this is another glorious episode of Discussion Time. And we're going to talk about South Park and Family Guy. Yep. Now, first, let's just talk about South Park. Now, pretty much everybody knows South Park, and some people were fans of South Park since 1997 or 1998 or whenever year the show came on. And I've been a fan of South Park since I was only 6 years old. Yep. And I should have been watching the Teletubbies. I was watching Kenny get killed over and over and over again. And I didn't find it funny because I didn't get it until years later. Now I get it. But really, now South Park is a recognized show. It has won much more awards than Family Guy has. And Family Guy, well, when you talk about Family Guy, I mean, the way that the characters changed over the years is kind of what? Like, first, Peter used to be a dumb father to a retard, and Stewie was just an evil baby to a homosexual. And from Brian, from being a normal talking dog with cynical remarks, to a liberal, or Chris just being a normal son to being a retard, and Meg being from a teenage girl who just wanted to fit in to a running gag punching bag. But the characters in South Park, like Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny, they remain the same. Except that Kenny doesn't die like he used to. Because in season 1, he used to die all the time. And it was a kid that was named Kenny. The parents tried to sue it because he would be shocked and horrified. Ugh, that's a cold phobia, dude. So if your name's Kenny, then I wouldn't watch season 1 if your name's Kenny. You might be traumatized by how Kenny dies, but whatever. But now, South Park is arguably more offensive than Family Guy. Family Guy is less offensive, and South Park is offensive because they got a game in their second season, but the game sucked. South Park Stick of Truth. I want that game so bad it's not even hilarious right now. Ugh, I just want that game so bad. But really, South Park is more offensive than Family Guy. But let's just talk about South Park for the most part. Now, South Park is a show that's obviously created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who met in college, and they just made a short film called The Spirit of Christmas. And in that short, Cartman was Kenny, while Kenny was just an unnamed kid. They all had different clothes and stuff. Then they redid it again in 1995 as some sort of a postcard to a Fox worker, I think it was. And they looked how they looked today, and it was still in paper, and yes, Kenny died. And I did find out that an early 1997 pilot showed that Cartman was going to have a father and a sister. It's on Reddit, on the South Park subreddit. Just find it. He was supposed to have a sister, so it would have been cool to have Cartman have a sister because she would probably be just like him. It'd be kind of fun, but I want to see if it's a really, really early version of Cartman gets an anal float besides that version. But anyway, South Park is more offensive, and it's been on for quite some time. It's been on for like 17 to 18 years, and it might end in 2015, 2016, because a lot of fans, like some fans, say that the show's humor is dying out. It should have ended. It should have ended in season 10 because season 10 is my favorite South Park season, and it was the best season. Season 17, it was kind of lame. because it had less episodes. The jokes weren't as funny as they originally were in previous seasons, but I hope season 18 can make up for that and be as quite as funnier than season 17 would ever be. And my favorite South Park episode, if you want to ask, is the one where they beat up the UPS man. And I can do a pretty good Bane voice. I'll do it at the end of the video just to see that I'm not lying to you. but anyway, South Park is a really good show, and if you're not that too big on children swearing or Scientology or anything that's making fun of anything religious, then I don't think this is a show for you. But if you are a person that doesn't care about all that stuff and watch it because you understand the humor and what they are getting at, then have at it. Now let's just talk about Family Guy. Now Family Guy's been on for 15 years, and it came on the same year I was born, 1999. Now Family Guy started off as some short called Larry and Steve that was on What a Cartoon in 1995, which ran on Cartoon Network. And then Seth MacFarlane made another one in 1997 called The Life of Larry. And they look completely different because Seth MacFarlane, hey, he's been an animator for quite some time since he was 14. And the stuff that he used to draw didn't look anything like Family Guy. It looked like an old 50s, 60s cartoon, like a 50s Saturday morning cartoon show, if you can call it that. Like sort of a homage. But besides that, Family Guy has been on for quite some time, and it did get canceled because back then when Family Guy was first coming on, it was one of the worst shows. Well, people called it the worst show on television. Up until when it came back in 2005, because of DVD sales and a big petition, it got funny. And it started to get Grammys and Emmys. Stewie and Brian made an appearance in '07, and all a bunch of other stuff. And when Seth MacFarlane killed Brian, and Brian was absent for, I think, 1 or 2 episodes, which was a completely pointless thing to do, because he said it was supposed to be a lesson on you never know what you have until it's gone. But why Brian? And what is the point of the message? Like, it has no meaning. It just seemed like something that could have been written up there. But, anyway, Family Guy is an okay show. I mean, but it does talk too much about the liberal agenda. Like, we just want to laugh. We don't want to talk about liberals, politics, or rights. That's why we have CNN for them. But, really, folks, I just think that Family Guy isn't as offensive as South Park is because South Park is hugely offensive and funny. It's awesome. But Family Guy, they just try to force the liberal agenda down your throat, saying that liberals are supposed to know this or that. And the same formula Seth MacFarlane does for his other shows is the same thing. It's a picture. Just look up Seth MacFarlane writing process or writing staff on Google Images, and if you see a picture that's just like in columns, that's the one I'm talking about. That's what it's actually like. I just realized it until seeing that picture. Now, Family Guy is a decent show. It was canceled twice, but it still kind of holds up. And I used to be a big Family Guy fan when I was 5, no, like 6, because when I was 6, I got into Adult Swim, which I shouldn't have. But Adult Swim is awesome. No doubt about it. But really, Family Guy is a pretty good cartoon. And yes, the creators of South Park despise Family Guy. Even when they pitched that episode Cartoon Wars on South Park, King of the Hill fans hate Family Guy too. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is the most hated show next to South Park because some people who can't take a joke or doesn't get Matt and Trey's humor hate the show. But I, for one, don't hate the show because both shows are pretty neat. But South Park does bring a lot of the raunchiness, and it still holds up. I mean, at least the characters don't change. I mean, because just like, I mean, both shows, the characters don't age. Hell, even Kenny stopped dying. He dies occasionally. Not all the time, but on occasion. Maybe he might die once in season 18 or a lot. But the joke was getting old. And plus, South Park did kill off Kenny in one of the seasons and replace him with Timmy or Tweek and Butters. And none of them were a good replacement for Kenny. So once they got to the newer seasons, they were like, screw it, let's just put Kenny back. And Kenny was back on the show from then on because Kenny does have a lot of abilities in the older episodes. He can sing, he can dance, he can do all this stuff. But he just needs to do this in a lot. I mean, I know that they're not supposed to change and the character should be the same, but this is just something I'm throwing out. But South Park is, I can say South Park is way more funnier than Family Guy because Family Guy and the liberal agenda should have never, you know, collided in with each other. But, oh, sorry, guys. But anyway, both shows are pretty good. I give, I'll give, I'll give South Park a decent. Oh yeah, South Park gets a decent 8 out of 10. Family Guy gets a 3 out of 10 because if Family Guy would stop trying to use the same stuff, but the cutaway gags of Family Guy are pretty funny, and sometimes they can seem like you've seen them in the previous season. But yeah, so this is the Rank Kid. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share my videos to anybody you know. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next discussion time video, which will be on Eminem. Yep. So, see ya.